What's up, everybody? Oh, it's going to be one of those. Look at the stragglers. Here we go. Hey, you guys are the A players because you're all here and you're on time. And we're gonna talk smack about all the ones that don't show up on time. But what do you think? Do you like the hat? I figured it hit both. Like it's blue. So if you're Democrat, it's blue, right? And then it also has a saying on that. So if you're a Republican, like you're okay there. So I'm kind of checking both boxes. See how that works? No? All right, whatever.
Bringing
Anyway,
groups together.
listen, I am here because I obviously have a passion. I want to make agents great. And maybe again isn't the right thing, but listen, the reality is that there is a greater delta, a greater divide right now more than ever before between the people that are really doing well and the people that aren't. And I have some very, very specific opinions about why that is. And I'm going to share with you some of those. Some of you already know because some of you have been around long enough. But before I get started, I want to make sure that you write this down. Everybody got their calendars. On November 20th, 11 o'clock Mountain Time, the only time that matters, Mountain Time, we have got Thrive in 25. It's a business and life planning event. It'll be 3 hours. I will get you all of the information as we get closer, but right now, 11 o'clock on November 20th, it'll be on Zoom. There'll be watch parties all over the place if you would prefer to be live and in person, but I just want to make sure you get that all done, okay? Get that all on your calendars. I want to talk to you today about value. My car broke down on Monday. I was going to get it serviced. I was going to figure out how I was going to get it to the place, and I knew that there was this place over here, and they were less, and they were telling me they were less. But you know how you look in the reviews, and they're like, a 3.8, and you're like. And then there was this other place, and it was more expensive. And it wasn't a little bit more expensive; it was a lot more expensive. And I knew these people. I paid more. I paid more because I trusted the people. And my question to you is, have you ever bought a product? Have you ever bought a service and where you paid more, all because you either liked those people or you trusted those people, that business more? Anybody? Of course. Like, that's the way it works. And if it's true that that's the way it works, then the answer from us should be, when we're talking to our customers, should be the same thing, shouldn't it? Like isn't that, this is where I think that this divide between the people that are doing really, really well in this business and the people that aren't, it's one of these places that's getting exploited because truthfully, you're different. You're built different. Do you know, so the Consumer Federation of America, this is no survey from NAR or one of these people that have they got skin in the game. You know what I'm talking about? This is the Consumer Federation of America. They do surveys of all these different industries around the country. Their results are that 70% of real estate professionals did fewer than 5 transactions in one entire year. Now, look, some of you live in markets where the average sales price is $3 million, and that's probably just fine that you can make a living doing that. But for the rest of you, 5 transactions is poverty line. That's not what a sales warrior does. And so while we sit back and we watch this strange, by the way, it's been around forever, right? In the 1970s, we talked about one of the very first franchises was a discount listing service. Okay, they're still around today, so I'm not going to talk smack about them. But the point is that discounting has been around for a long time. This is nothing new, and we get a choice to make when things are really, really easy. Like, people end up saying, well, I'm not offering any value, so the only thing I have to trade on is price. So I'm just going to discount. And then all of a sudden things get really hard. And those people that actually are providing great value, that have the likability and the trust, Well, listen, they do what they do. They say, hey, listen, you can find somebody to do it for 2%, but that's not what I'm going to do it for. So, so if you're one of those people that are struggling to own your value so that people will pay you more because they trust you to get them their outcome, why? I think that the answer, maybe you guys can fill in the blank, but I think that the answer is that maybe you just didn't even make the connection. Maybe you didn't even think about it. I don't know. Maybe it's been so long that's been easy that we just forgot. Or perhaps you don't have the skills. Maybe you haven't built the skills necessary to create that environment. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk a little bit about those skills required to make sure that you're getting paid for what it is that you're doing and not competing with these people that really aren't your competition. And a lot of people right now are competing. Like everybody wants a piece of your industry. You know that, right? And not all the agents are great. And so when you have an agent that's not great, what do? They trade on dollars. I'm going to tell you something right now. People would rather pay more for the right solution than pay less for the wrong one. That's the point. Listen, y'all, if you are an agent, and we all know sales warriors, you understand that the average listing, the average seller that is represented by a sales warrior sells their home for 13% more. Can I ask you a question? If you could tell somebody you list your home with me, on average, you're going to get 13% more. I'm going to charge 5% for that. We got to decide now what you're going to offer to the buyer, if anything, right? But for me, you're going to pay me 5%. And they go, whoa, I get it. But yeah, I got somebody that'll do it for 2%. Totally got it. Nobody on the history of the planet ever said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save myself 3% today so I can lose 13. That's what I'm going to do today. That's not how it works. But we've got to be specially trained to be able to explain to people that we're the right solution for more money and not the wrong solution for less. Well, what does that look like? Well, I think number one, the question that I have for you is, do you have the skills to identify the real problem? Do you have the questions? Do you understand how to ask the questions? Do you understand rapport building? Do you understand how to build trust in somebody so that they'll tell you the truth? Because we all know that when we're talking about sales, our entire job is to solve their problem. But what happens with most people? You know this, right? Most people, they don't want to tell you the whole truth. They're going to give you a piece of the truth, and then you're going to have to sort of figure out exactly how you're going to solve that thing. And then all of a sudden you solve it, and it turns out it wasn't the right thing. And if it was the right thing, they would have bought it, but they didn't buy it, which means that it wasn't the right thing. So do you have the skills necessary to identify what the real problem is? I don't know. But hey, here's the thing. People aren't born with this stuff. Sales warriors weren't born sales warriors. You developed the skills. You cared enough to go out and do it. You cared enough to go out and find the missing piece. And that's what we're talking about here. So if you don't have these skills, don't get disappointed, but get pissed, like in a good way. Get focused, like in a good way. Let's go. Do you have the skills to solve it? So you found the problem. All right, I identified the problem. Here it is. This is the deal. And well, now I got to solve it. Listen, some salespeople, I watch this happen all the time, right? Look, amateurs care only about their paychecks. Pros care only about solving the problem of their customers. Pros know, I put on a good show. I solve enough problems. I solve big enough problems. I don't got to worry about getting paid. I'm going to get paid like a pro. Amateurs don't really care. They're trying to solve all problems. They're just trying to get that money. That's not us. That's not how we roll. Okay. But here's the thing. If you don't have the skills to solve it, then what ends up happening is you're trying to solve all of them. I would much rather see, as a sales warrior, I'd much rather be able to go in and say, look, I've identified the problem and I don't have the solution, but I'm going to connect you with a salesperson that does have the solution because that's the best thing for you. And when I do that, I want to show, I'm demonstrating to you that I am trustworthy, that you can trust me, and therefore you're going to refer me to other people. And by the way, now I'm not going to fall on my face, because the worst thing in the world is taking that $2 million listing for $4 million. You know what I'm talking about? And your sign sits out there for like 18 years, and you are literally marketing to everybody in the neighborhood that you can't do your job. You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. So do you have the skills to solve the problem? If you don't have the skills to solve the problem, let's develop those skills. Do you have the skills to communicate to the customer in a way that meets them where they're at? Like, we hear that you meet your customer where it's at. What the hell does that mean? This right here, this makes the decision, doesn't it? This makes your decision. This rationalizes it. Listen, I don't care how you slice this. I don't care if you're looking at the DISC, the Enneagram, the ABC, the Myers-Briggs, the whatever. Like, I don't care. There are people, they're all human. They all make the decisions exactly the same way. Now, some of them are more intellectual about how they'll rationalize it, but let me help you understand, right? If I sat here to you right this second and said, look, for the last 5 years you've been in the business, you made $150,000 a year. Okay? 5 years, you've made $150,000 a year. If you come and you work for me, I'm going to guarantee you're going to make $500,000 a year. But now look, you've been on a 90% comp plan. You've been paying the company and got a cap. You got all these things. You're not going to be on that. You're actually going to be on a 30% comp plan with me. So you're going to pay me a lot more. But here's the thing. You're going to make 3 times more money than you were making before. And that's even after paying me. Okay. So I'm going to forever and completely change your life. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your family's life. It's going to change your customer's life. You're going to live a balanced life. You're going to have great faith, great family, great fitness. And yes, your finances are going to create freedom, financial freedom, so that you don't have to worry about when the market goes up or down or sideways. It doesn't matter. You don't give a shit about that market, because you will have a business that can withstand the test of time. I have your heart. I have your heart. But now I got to meet you in your mind. Okay. And the way I communicate the solution is the rationalization. If I'm looking to buy or sell a house, and I can demonstrate, if I can speak to you in a way and communicate in a way that gets you excited, and then I can show you specifically what I'm going to do so that you can rationalize it mentally, now we got something. It's heart and mind. And then the last part of these skills is, do you have the skills to respond to the invitation to close your client? Now, you'll notice that I'm trying to wordsmith this, right? You and I talk about these as objections. Y'all, you ever heard this whole thing, like your attitude is 90% of whether or not you'll succeed or fail? Have you ever heard that? It's a guy named Art Williams. It was kind of his deal, right? He had the 5 things. He always talked about your attitude is 90+% of whether or not you're going to win or lose. You're going to succeed or fail. And we talk about objections instead of invitations to close. And the reason I'm reframing this as invitations to close is because here's the thing. What I know about sales is, if I have a customer and I have done my job, I went, I interviewed them. I really built rapport. I built trust. I identified some of the challenges that they were trying to solve. I went back. I figured out some solutions and some ways to solve it. I went and I communicated them the solution. Oh man, I tell you what, I crushed it. I did great. I did all of the things, and they don't have any questions. I've already lost the sale. 99 times out of 100, I lost the sale. 99 times out of 100 on the people that actually choose to do business with me, they have got questions. And rather than them being objections, they have got to be seen as invitations to answer and close. And so think about this. Like, if you went through that, now you got my attention, you gave me a presentation, you communicated the solution to my problem, you met me in my heart, you explained it for my mind, and you got my attention. Okay, no, wait a minute. Tell me a little bit about this, and tell me a little bit about that, and how does this work, and that work, and this work? Does this all make sense to you guys?
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. I'm going to get you right back to the video. But most of you know me as a real estate broker, or maybe somebody who's built and scaled one of the fastest growing sales organizations in the country. What you may not know is that I also work with other sales professionals and leaders that are looking to grow and scale their businesses and just live badass lives. The one place that I have everybody start, the very first spot, is the lethal scripts for the sales warrior. I'm going to give you one for free today just so that you can get a little taste of what it is that we're doing out there. So click on the link below. We'll send you the information and let's get back to the video.
It's awful quiet out there. Can I get a thumbs up, a smile, an amen, a hoorah, a whatever you all say in Montana? I don't know. Listen, my point is that most people are amateurs. In the sales business, most people are amateurs. That is not you all. That is not how you work. You are different. And I want to talk about differentiation right now because I fear that so many people think that differentiation is about the postcard that they're sending out, and it is not. You are already built differently. You are not one of the I do under 5 transactions a year. I live under the poverty line. You are already different. You are not the same as everybody else. You are tough. You are specially trained. You have a team around you that is the best in the world. You're not the same. Listen, I know a lot of you. I know, certainly I know thousands, maybe tens of thousands of real estate agents. I've had the opportunity to work with so many of you and others that, like, one thing I know is real estate sales professionals, y'all are absolutely built different. For those of you that are successful in the business, I know you and I don't even know you. You guys have been disappointed. You've been kicked in the shins. You've been skinned your knees. You've taken it in the jaw. You have had people let you down. You have failed miserably. You got back up. You have a desire to want to be different. You have a desire, a commitment, a relentlessness to be somebody, to make a difference in the world. You are already different. The challenge is making sure that you differentiate yourself to the consumer, because if you ask 25 consumers right now if they thought that most agents were the same, I'd wager that the vast majority of them would say 100% they're all the same. It's the reason that we end up in this popularity contest. And the problem with popularity contests is they're not based on value. They're based on whether or not somebody likes you or not. And I don't know. There was this guy named Steve. I think his last name was Jobs. Anybody know him? I'm pretty sure he was not very likable. In fact, the guy was so unlikable, they fired him from his own company. But that guy delivered a value. You're going to have to decide. You're going to have to be the one that makes the decision that, hey, I am different. I am I am more valuable. I'm worth it. I have the confidence, the skills, the competencies. You're going to have to choose which side of the fence you're going to be on, right? Are you going to be fighting for price and value or popularity and likability? We all get it. No, like, and trust. Heard it 100 million times. We talk about it in all of our different organizations that we work with. It's all the same thing. KLT, KLT, KLT. But y'all, come on now. If they don't know you, you don't even get a shot. Okay? That's kind of a foregone conclusion. Now, we can talk about the fact that there is this idea of build a list in your community, and I don't prospect and all that kind of stuff. And I get it. That's fine. I'm going to give you some data points here in just a second that hopefully will convince you otherwise. Obviously, I'm talking a lot about Google My Business, YouTube, social media, prospecting. Like, I believe in new school and old school. You got to combine these things together. I do not believe that our business is becoming a technology business. I know that everybody that wants to take their companies public would like everybody to believe that it's a technology business. I don't know if you know this or not, but technology companies trade on what they call EBITDA. They somewhere between a 15 and 25 times EBITDA. Real estate companies trade on that same number, EBITDA, but it's 2 or 3 times. Okay. You see why I might want, as a company that's trying to build to go public, I might want people to think of me as a subscription or technology company. Makes perfect sense, right? Okay, but y'all, this is a people business. And I'm going to do business with people I trust. I'm going to do people with people I like. And I'm certainly going to do business with people I know, because if I didn't know them, I wouldn't call them in the first place. But how do I do that if they don't know me? Well, that's what Google My Business is. That's what YouTube is. That's what social shorts are. That's what those things that give you the ability to connect with people that don't know you necessarily, but when they go to search for you, they find you. And yet what most people are doing is they're managing their business to B2B, right? Not business to business, belly to belly. Okay. They're managing their prospecting efforts, their sales efforts to B2B. The research shows that will limit you to somewhere between 150 and 250 people. Okay. And we don't need to get into all of the details of that, but you don't have the capacity to really be in relationship with more to 150 to 250 people. Now, listen, the saying's been said, you can't swing a cat without hitting a real estate agent. So if that's the case and you're not in constant rapport with the people, well, then the chances are they know 3, 4, 5 other people. The other issue that comes along with that is the percentage of people that are making a real estate move, a transaction over the next 12 to 18 months varies wildly by market, by economic drivers, all COVID, pandemics. Okay. Listen, I've seen it as high as 8, 9%. I've seen it as high as like, hey, listen, the turn rate is every 6 or 7 years, but I've also seen it at 10 years. I've also seen it at 4%. If all you're doing is managing your business to that the people that you can already just kind of be in constant rapport with, well, then what you do is you are leaving the ebbs and flows of your business up to the market, up to the economy, up to, who's running for president. You don't want that. That's why what we're seeing is that divide. Like the haves and the have-nots are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You don't want that. You want a business that functions in spite of the market. And that, hey, when the market comes, rock on, let's go. When the wind goes, boom. But when the wind dies down, I got engines, baby. Like we're still going. If you executed on building that trust, if you traded value instead of popularity, if you built influence and not just authority, that differentiates you in this sea of sameness. That's my buddy Michael Sheargold, right? In a sea of sameness. That's 1.5 million real estate professionals doing on average 4 transactions a year, making less than $50,000 a year. What are we talking about here? That's the sea of sameness. And what oftentimes what I see happen is that we as real estate professionals, we get sucked into this like, oh, they're our competition. They're not our competition. Y'all, look at the numbers. If that's the average, then the average agent is not your competition. Y'all are doing more than that. Like, I think the average person in the sales warrior land does 14 transactions, 15 transactions. So you're not even close to the 70%, which means you're probably closer to the top 4 or 5%. If you're in the top 5%, that means that as you look around, 95% of the people want you to be their competition, but you're not their competition. That's not who you are. That's the sales warrior way. We're just different. We build lists, we connect with lists, we deliver value to our lists, we build authority with our lists, we build influence with our lists, we deliver exponentially to our list, we outdo it, we deliver exceptional real estate experiences. We walk with a swagger. We're tough. We're not afraid to talk about the hard things, because the hard things are where the real value is. We're built different. We don't shy away. We lean in. While everybody else is trying to make a dollar, we're trying to give value. That's the difference between like and trust. Like, people trust us. People trust us to do the right thing. Not sometimes, but always. But that kind of person, that kind of sales professional, that kind of leader, that kind of man, woman, Republican, Democrat, Black, white, Jewish, Christian, don't matter. It requires that we remember why we're here. What got us here? Remember your story. Remember that you're not like everybody else. Remember that you're hardcore. Remember that you're strong, that you're tough as nails, that you're relentless. Remember what you've built. Remember what you are building. Remember about the people that you've chosen to surround yourself with. Remember the fact that you literally have been given the keys by God to change people's lives, make dreams come true. If you are buying or selling real estate, I don't care if it's commercial, residential, investment, third home, first home, it doesn't matter. They're life-changing moments for people. Like, these are big moments and you are part of it. And if you do an incredible job, if you out deliver on your promises, they're going to tell the world. And they should tell the world, because you're world class. You got to remember who you are. The world has got so many people distracted and trying to get the pros to think that they're competition, but they're not, y'all. They're amateurs. Dang it. I want that to get through to you so badly. Like y'all are you're just different. You do have competition, by the way. The competition is the person that's looking at you in the mirror every single morning when you get up. That's your competition. You're the one. You're the only one that can make your dreams, but you're also the only one that can break your dreams. You're the only one. If you want it, if you will remind yourself every single day that you got it, and you got it, you'll go get it. And you will grow your business. You'll do what's necessary. You'll just do it. You'll find a way. There are no excuses. There is no plan B. There is no plan C. There's no plan D. Failure is not an option. I am a winner, 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 chicken dinner. You remember who you are, you'll freaking do it. Like, that's the great thing about you. And I know you, you're built different. Again, you're tough as nails. Now, everybody's trying to distract you and tell you you're not tough as nails and you're weak and you're soft and you're pansies or whatever the word du jour is, but you're not. I know you. You're a sales warrior. You are ready for battle. You have sweat more in preparation so that you will bleed less in war. You're sales warriors. You're here to fight for others. You're here to defend others. You're here to make others people feel safe, secure, and confident. That's what you do. And you're on this call, which is wonderful, and I love it, and I really appreciate it. I got to share with you one thing though. I read this book, and most of you guys know that's part of my morning routine. I get up every morning, bam, I'm in books, baby. I gotta learn. What I'm really doing is I'm crowding out all of the bullshit that's in my head, because this is the scary place you want to be. But if I'm reading and I'm filling it with really good stuff, then I don't worry about it, because I've crowded out all the bad stuff, right? But I was reading this one book. And it has all the business lessons I have ever needed. Honestly, y'all, this book is amazing, right?
Hey, just a quick little interruption. As you know, I work with some of the best sales professionals and leaders who are looking to grow their businesses, build exceptional lives on the planet. And what I'm doing is I'm giving away $50,000 worth of coaching and training absolutely free. All you have to do is enter the drawing below, click on the link, enter your information, tell us just a little bit about you, and you could qualify for $50,000 worth of free coaching and training. Let's get back to the video.
And last night, for whatever reason, I felt like today was important. Like, I really felt like this call specifically was really, really important. I was feeling that there were some people that needed to hear some things, and hopefully they're on the call. Right? I know that we got a pretty light crowd today. So, but hopefully they're on the call. But I was up late, like well past midnight. I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was punishing myself. Okay. Because I'm a doer. I'm not a talker. I want to be known as a man of my word. And the first thing I read, you gonna believe this? The first thing, I had this whole conversation with myself last night. It was like 12:12 when I went to bed. I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember Shannon, she goes, what time is it? And I'm like, oh, I think it's like 10:30. And I'm like, all right, well, here we go. And I had this whole conversation. Well, maybe you get up at 6. Maybe you can get up at 5:30. Maybe. No, you're getting up at 5. And I get up at 5 and I open the book, and it goes to James 1, and it says, be a doer, not a hearer. Be a doer, not a hearer. When we talk about building value, and while I love that you're on this call, and I hope you will continue to be on calls like this, and I love that you're reading, and I love that you're pouring into yourself, I just got to ask you the question. Do you know the difference between exposure and training? Do you know the difference between practice and training? They're not the same. And I fear that what's going on with a lot of people is that all you're doing is you're practicing plays that don't work, and you're practicing them over and over and over rather than training, rather than really training on what will work and be relevant in this market, in today's world. See, when things are really easy, it's sometimes hard to determine what works and what doesn't work. And the reason is because everything kind of works. But when things get hard, it all of a sudden is really important to lean in and better understand, hey, what's really working and what's really not working, and then get really good at it. And listen, practicing is just sort of, okay, what they say, you play how you practice. And so you should practice like you play. Well, listen, you need to train, because if you don't have the skills necessary, it doesn't matter whether or not you're practicing. You're just practicing the wrong shit. So what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you practicing plays that didn't work before? Maybe they don't work today, or are you training? Where are you investing? Do you hear what I said? Investing and exposing yourself to training that will work to differentiate you in today's market. Where are you practicing plays that didn't work before, hoping to God that you're going to get a different result this time? There's a saying, showing up is half the battle. Does everybody know that saying? It's a lie. Showing up is not half the battle. I was going to show you this TED Talk. Oh, you guys want to watch a video? I'm going to show you this. Hold on one second. I'm gonna do this. All right. You all hear that?
When I was 27 years old, I left a very demanding job in management consulting for a job that was even more demanding, teaching. I went to teach 7th graders math in the New York City public schools. And like any teacher, I made quizzes and tests, I gave out homework assignments. When the work came back, I calculated grades. What struck me was that IQ was not the only difference between my best and my worst students. Some of my strongest performers did not have stratospheric IQ scores. Some of my smartest kids weren't doing so well. And that got me thinking. The kinds of things you need to learn in 7th grade math, sure, they're hard. Ratios, decimals, the area of a parallelogram. But these concepts are not impossible. And I was firmly convinced that every one of my students could learn the material if they worked hard and long enough. After several more years of teaching, I came to the conclusion that what we need in education is a much better understanding of students and learning from a motivational perspective, from a psychological perspective. In education, the one thing we know how to measure best is IQ. But what if doing well in school and in life depends on much more than your ability to learn quickly and easily? So I left the classroom and I went to graduate school to become a psychologist. I started studying kids and adults in all kinds of super challenging settings. And in every study, my question was, who is successful here and why? My research team and I went to West Point Military Academy. We tried to predict which cadets would stay in military training and which would drop out. We went to the National Spelling Bee and tried to predict which children would advance farthest in competition. We studied rookie teachers working in really tough neighborhoods, asking which teachers are still going to be here in teaching by the end of the school year. And of those, who will be the most effective at improving learning outcomes for their students? We partnered with private companies asking which of these salespeople is going to keep their jobs and who's going to earn the most money. In all those very different contexts, one characteristic emerged as a significant predictor of success. And it wasn't social intelligence, it wasn't good looks, physical health, and it wasn't IQ. It was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. Grit is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. A few years ago, I started studying grit in the Chicago public schools. I asked thousands of high school juniors to take grit questionnaires, and then waited around more than a year to see who would graduate. Turns out that grittier kids were significantly more likely to graduate, even when I matched them on every characteristic I could measure. Things like family income, standardized achievement test scores, even how safe kids felt when they were at school. So it's not just at West Point or the National Spelling Bee that grit matters, it's also in school, especially for kids at risk for dropping out. To me, the most shocking thing about grit is how little we know, how little science knows about building it. Every day, parents and teachers ask me, how do I build grit in kids? What do I do to teach kids a solid work ethic? How do I keep them motivated for the long run? The honest answer is, I don't know. What I do know is that talent doesn't make you gritty. Our data show very clearly that there are many talented individuals who simply do not follow through on their commitments. In fact, in our data, grit is usually unrelated or even inversely related to measures of talent. So far, the best idea I've heard about building grit in kids is something called growth mindset. This is an idea developed at Stanford University by Carol Dweck, and it is the belief that the ability to learn is not fixed, that it can change with your effort. Dr. Dweck has shown that when kids read and learn about the brain and how it changes and grows in response to challenge, they're much more likely to persevere when they fail because they don't believe that failure is a permanent condition. So growth mindset is a great idea for building grit, but we need more. And that's where I'm going to end my remarks, because that's where we are. That's the work that stands before us. We need to take our best ideas, our strongest intuitions, and we need to test them. We need to measure whether we've been successful, and we have to be willing to fail, to be wrong, to start over again with lessons learned. In other words, we need to be gritty about getting our kids grittier. Thank you.
As I'm in the midst of applying for residency.
All right, one more interruption. Hey, listen, you guys know I'm working with salespeople and leaders all over the country, all over the world for that matter, and we're all focused on one thing. How is it that we have the greatest impact and change the most lives? So here's the thing. You don't have to pay me to be your coach. I'm going to give you my phone number. I want you to text me any question you've got. I promise you I'll answer it. Just try me. 833-338-0078. Ask me whatever you want. I'm in this for you, not just with you, for you. Let's get out there and crush it and change some lives.
Don't you love multiple screens? I've got this whole setup and I guess I can't use it. But anyway, so interesting, like we've all talked about grit, right? I mean, certainly the success that I have experienced is not because I'm smart, right? Because we all know that's not true. I know many of your all stories, some of the grittiest people on the freaking planet, right? And so, you know, I like that video as she's going through that. She's talking about how success was not tied to discipline, fitness, social or emotional, IQ, etc. But what she fails to do is talk about different ways, though, grit can be seen. See, the argument is made that being in shape simply demonstrates like oh, I built the grit muscle. Y'all, can we just say this? In order for somebody to accomplish something great in today's world, you have to almost be delusional, don't you? Grit is that muscle that says, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I know I'm not the right man for the job. I know I'm not the woman for the job, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't have the right genetics. I don't have the right IQ, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't have the right upbringing. I'm from a broken home. I've had the wrong experiences. I'm going to do it anyway. It's not about showing up. It's about showing up and doing the right things with the right energy over and over and over and over again. The saying is like, it's easy to get excited and be motivated with an M for a day, a week, a month, maybe even a year, right? But to stay motivated, to stay inspired for years upon years upon years, well, that's a whole different gig. And you can look, like when you're talking about business, in order to really make it in sales, I don't care what sales we're talking about, to really have a career built for sales, you got to be in this for 8 years. 8 years seems to be a magic number. I don't know why that is, but that's just the number and it seems to be magic. And what happens is prior to the 8 years, people do this a lot, right? Oh, business is up, business is down, business is up, business is down. You got to at least get through one downturn. That's as far as I'm concerned, that's the stress test. See, they're the test days, the test months, the test years. We're in one right now. That's what builds grit. It's the passionate perseverance. For me, that comes from being like a child. I don't mean being childish, but I mean like being like a child. Listen, when you were a kid, you'd try anything, right? You were Mikey. Remember the Life cereal commercials? Come on, baby, let's go. You didn't care. Oh, that was horrible. I ate a worm, right? I skinned my knee. You still got up and played, man. Do you remember those times where you're like holding back tears as a kid because you fell down and you busted your ass and you're like, I'm not gonna let anybody else see that I'm hurt. You were tough as nails, man. You showed up the next day, you showed up the next day and the next day and the next day, and you just kept going and going and going. Yo, you had big dreams back then. I'm calling you to be more childlike, dream big, to think the way we thought back then. That nobody was going to ever tell you you couldn't be a fireman, right? Like nobody was going to tell you that you couldn't be the star quarterback. Like you had it in your head, you had it in your heart. Like nobody was telling you anything differently. By the way, is it not strange that when you came home and you told your parents that you were going to be an astronaut, they didn't tell you no? Maybe some of you did. They did, but most of our parents, they were like, "Oh, they're fucking crazy." Sorry. We believed that we could accomplish anything and we did not have any fear of failing. In fact, it was no big deal, right? We had patches on our denim jeans for that. We need to have that passion and that perseverance to learn new things right here, right now. And just do the old ones. Just do it. Like the old ones that worked, like they're old, they're time tested, true, like proven. Do them. Do them, do them, do them. Enough of the excuses. There were no excuses. You just did it. You just did it. You wanted more listings? Just do it. If you want more leads, just do it. If you want more energy, just do it. If you want to have a better attitude, just have it. If you want more sales, just make them. Just do it. It's this passion, it's this attitude, it's this energy. You got this. You are these people. These people that train, like think about this for a second, right? Like passion, perseverance around a big ass dream, like something that really got you excited. Hey, you know what? You know what I thought? There are $5 billion worth of sales being done in my marketplace. I wonder if I could be like 20 million. Think about it. Why not? What if I could do $100 million in sales? Of course you can. But somebody's taught you that like all these average people are your competition. They're not your competition. You're built different. You are the 1%. Like it's a complete and totally different thing. But that ability to dream big, that ability to have passion and perseverance around those dreams, to learn what you needed to learn, to train until your hands bled, to get in the game every single day, to get up, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. The best way to win is to never quit. Yo, you are these people. I'm just telling you right now, this is you. I'm here. Maybe that's it. Maybe what I'm here to do today is to remind you who I see when I look at you. You are these people. Everyone's talking right now about how the year's over. You know, if you don't put anything in a contract in the next 15 days, like it's over. That not you. You know better. You know this is the time that everybody takes a nap, right? Oh, we're on Christmas party circuits and it's this vacation and that vacation. No, not you. You know this is the time. This is your time. Everybody's taking the time off. They went to sleep, but you're wide awake. You're doing it. I'm in the trenches with you guys every single day, right? I'm building the best real estate training company in the world. I'm not bragging. I'm just calling my shot. See, that's that child dream. I'm going to build the #1 real estate training company in the world because we are people that actually don't tell you what to do. We show you what we did. We're not out there trying to sell nonsense. We're just saying, hey, look, come along with us. This is how we live. We believe in our 4 foundations. We follow the proven process. These are the things that we do. There's the outcomes. If you want these outcomes, you should do these things. By the way, if somebody else has promised you something else, you should probably just make sure that they can actually demonstrate that they've done it for the right people. It's just somebody like you. Maybe they did it for themselves, but do something. But there's a lot of people out there that are saying, hey, listen, we can do it. We can do more. We can do it for less. Guys, no, that's all bullshit. We just started this whole thing off with, hey, look, own your value. So I'm calling my shot. I'm going to dream big. I'm going to learn what I need to learn, and I'm training until my hands bleed. I'm in the game every single day, and I keep getting up because this is a business. Sales is a business. Frankly, life is a business that you're going to get knocked down 95% of the time. And you've got to determine that the 5% is worth the squeeze. Like I'm going to get my teeth kicked in 95% of the time, but I'm going to keep working, keep going, keep doing it. Every time I get a no, I'm sharpening my axe. I'm getting better at my skill. I've got a good attitude. I show up the right energy. I'm doing it. I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to keep going until I win. And so I wrote down 10 things that I'm experiencing right now as I go through and I build this sales organization from scratch. It looked a lot like a real estate business. Isn't that wild? So I'm going to give you 10 very specific things that I'm learning as I go through this, right? Number 1, warm calls are easier than cold ones. Anybody? Holy smokes, right? Cold calls are brutal. Cold calls have got like a 99%, don't call me again rate. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I made 37 cold calls yesterday. Okay. I had at least 3 of them hang up on me. Warm calls are better. They're easier. I'm going to tell you, there is a difference between cold calls and warm calls. There's a time where you have to make cold calls. There's a time that you have warm calls, but you've got to understand the game. Prospecting is everything. That's number 2. Prospecting is everything. Nothing ever gets in the way. Nothing ever gets in the way. Listen, if you want to win, man, you cannot ever let anything get in the way of prospecting. And yet there's all these distractions. Got a minute? What about this? What about that? If that's a skill that you need to learn, I'm happy to teach it to you. Go to the Distinctive Agent YouTube show, subscribe right now, okay, to that. And I got you. Okay. We go through scheduling and how to stay focused and protecting you need to learn that. But prospecting is the number 1 thing. There's nothing that ever trumps prospecting. You've got to build the list. There's a bunch of different ways to build that list. If you don't know that, you got to learn that skill. Once you learn how to build a list, nothing will ever stop you. Number 3 is marketing. Marketing is only effective if it generates a conversation. Listen, I don't let anybody tell you different, okay? Marketing is for one reason and one reason only, and that is to get a person who might want to use your services, might want to use your products to have a conversation with you. Raise their hand, send a text message. It doesn't matter, but marketing has got to create conversations. And number 4, conversations are the warm ones. See, when I'm having a conversation with somebody that's already been warmed up, even if it's just to simply say, gosh, I don't even know who you are, but what is this? It's a warmer conversation. I'm not having to get past that awkward moment with cold calls. Listen, cold calls, for those people that are really good at it, rock on, right? They're super hard. I totally get it. You still got to do it. It makes you really, really good. That's why people who have had to cold call make such great salespeople in the real estate space, because listen, you're going to have to knock on some doors and people are like, oh, I don't want to knock on doors. Well, then you're not going to win. Oh, well, I'll win. Okay, fine. You're the one. I totally get it. Well, maybe we have a different definition of winning. You're going to have to make your cold calls. Okay. Conversations that are generated from marketing are warm. Number 5, funnels. Funnels are every single place that you look. And if you don't know what a funnel is, you need to know what a funnel is. And if you know the funnel game, you know the marketing game. If you know the marketing game, you aren't making cold calls, you're making warm calls. Funnels. Got to know them. Got to be executing on them. They're not that hard. There is a proven process for funnels. Number 6.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. Last one. Hey, it's about that time, and we are doing business planning events all over the country. And I want to make sure that you have your absolute best year ever. The people that go through our business planning, on average, make over $250,000 per year. And if you're looking to do that, if you're a sales professional, text me at 833-338-0078. Just text me the town that you are in, and I will send you information about the business planning event that we're doing in your area. All right, let's get back to the video.
Phone interactions are different than B2B interactions. Remember, that's belly to belly. Okay. Phone interactions are different than person. So what I mean by that is, so you guys have heard me talk about thermostats and thermometers. So you go, hey, listen, if I'm belly to belly with somebody and I walk into a room, I want to be the thermostat. What that means is I'm going to bring the energy. I'm going to be like, hey, here I am. How are you, Keith? What's happening? How's the wife? What's going on with the kids? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Right? I'm going to bring the customer up in energy. I'm going to get a smile on their face. I'm going to build that rapport. I'm going to assume the friendship and the rapport right out of the gates. When I'm on the phone, I can't do it that way. See, on the phone, I actually have to be more of a thermostat. So what I would look at it is say, hey, look, it's called mirroring and matching. You guys heard that from a sales skill. Listen, I don't like some of these things because it feels manipulative, but this is really trying to build rapport in a very short period of time. How do you do that? Well, on the phone, if I come at you and I've got all the energy and I'm bam, 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 and you're like, hello, this is Todd. Well, we're going to miss each other. Okay. But learning these skills is super important. You got to know these skills. Number 7, if you don't know what to say, you do not stand a chance. I don't care who you are. I don't care how slick you are. I don't care how big of a heart you have. I don't care how pretty you are. It don't matter. If you don't know what to say, you don't stand a chance. Number 8, if it needs to be done more than one time, build a process, like written process. If it needs to be done more than once, build a process. It's got to be completely and totally written out. I've seen this before. I did this before back when we first started our real estate brokerage. And so I kind of knew this going in, and it saved me a lot, but it's super funny to me. So we go in and we wing it, right? And we're like, oh yeah, we got this. I'm a gunslinger. Here we go. Watch me, watch me. And that's me, right? Like I got to move fast. I got to move fast. I got to move fast. And then what happens is you stack the pressure, the responsibilities, the things you're accountable to, they get stacked up. And then at some point you're like, oh my God, I can't grow anymore because I don't have the capacity, I don't have the bandwidth. Well, that's what I'm talking about here. If I built the process, anything that needed to be done more than one time, I built the written process step by step by step so that I could literally give this to somebody and say, hey, just do it this way and everything's good. We'll always have capacity. One of the ways that we built the real estate organization, the way we built the real estate organization is not for people to come in and do it their new way and reinvent the wheel. It's like, hey, y'all, we already did this. Like we have marketing. The marketing works. I can prove that it works. I can show you specifically how many leads, where the leads went, what the response rates were, all of those things. I can tell you exactly what it is. Don't go out and try to do your own marketing. That's dumb. Literally defeats the purpose. Okay. So, or the training. Hey, listen, we're going to teach you. We're going to give you a book. We're going to give you scripts. We're going to give you dialogues. Everybody's like, oh, I don't like scripts. I don't like dialogues. Hold on, wait. Yeah, you 100% love scripts. You love dialogues. You may not like those particular words, so make it yours. Like, don't find an obstacle where there's an obstacle. Find a path where there is a path. It's already been created for you. Number 9 is you need a team that possesses personal accountability. Listen to me. If you have a team that doesn't take personal accountability, you are screwed. You're screwed. Because all that will happen is you will give a task, you will give something of importance to somebody to own that thing, to go out and crush that thing. And then they'll come back to you and not do that thing. And then they'll tell you, gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't get to that thing. Well, that's not personal accountability. Personal accountability is I'm going to take that thing. I accept the challenge. I accept the responsibility. I will be held accountable to this thing, and I will do whatever it takes to make sure that it gets done. If it's not going well, I'll come back to the team and ask for assistance. But at the end of the day, it is my responsibility. Number 9, you have got to have a team that possesses personal accountability. Otherwise, you're done. Okay. And number 10, micromanage everything. No, not micromanage everything. Micromeasure everything. Nobody wants to be micromanaged. And I don't want to be a babysitter. I did not get in this business to be a babysitter. Anybody else? Hell no. We got in this business so that we could change lives. And we got to know whether or not we're changing lives. So we micro measure everything. And by the way, if it requires micromanagement, we get rid of it. Okay. You got to get rid of it. If you have something that requires you to micromanage it, it is not the right thing for you. I promise you right now, get rid of it, outsource it, get rid of the person, replace the person. It doesn't matter. You do not want to be in any kind of a business, any kind of a situation where you are having to micromanage people, because if you micromanage people, you might as well have done it yourself, because you will think about it more than you need to, which will distract you from the things that are important, which is life, faith, family, finance, faith, family, fitness, and finance. Okay. All right, so those are 10 things that I'm learning right now. And I'm going to leave you with this. And I'm going to try to wrap up and get us out of here. I was having a conversation with somebody that I'm coaching, and they were like, well, so like, I'm going to do all these things. And I'm all right, coach, I'm doing what you told me. I'm like, how will I know? How will I know when I got there? And I'm like, well, I, that's a great question. I think you will know that things are different. You will know that you have gotten to a place where your mind is right, your heart is right, you are aligned with your values, you stand up for what you stand for. When all of a sudden you stop making excuses, right? When all of a sudden those things that were traumatic, like big T, little t, doesn't matter, become the things that taught you something, right? Traumas become your teachings. You'll know that things are different when you will share your experiences, right? That authenticity, that transparency, like we're all a disaster somewhere in our lives. We're all failing someplace in our lives. Like, this is a journey where you're going to share your experiences, not tell people what to do. You will know that things are different when you're listening to the word, not the world. You have faith in what it is that you're doing, that you know that this is what you were put on this planet to do, and you're here to have an impact. You will know things are different when you have those bad days. You don't turn to a bottle, you don't turn to porn, you don't turn to drugs, whatever your thing is. And instead you sit with it and you listen to it, and it becomes a lesson to you. It's telling you something. You know that things are different when you trade like the immediate for the later, right? You trade right now for later. Like, I don't need it right this second. I'm going to do it anyway because I know that what I do today will pay me tomorrow, and I'll trade it for tomorrow. You'll know that things are different, that when your standards are so high that you only have a few people that are hanging around anymore. See, they left. They couldn't meet your standards. Listen, for some of you, that scares the shit out of you. I totally get it. But listen, if you're going to be a 1%er, you're going to have to pay the price that 99% of the people wouldn't pay. And that's going to make sure, hey, listen, stand up for what I stand for. That's my standards. I'm going to elevate those standards. I'm going to elevate them every single year. Y'all, I elevate those things every single year. You know, things are different when what you do matches what you said you'll do. When you become a man or woman of your word, that you say no when you mean no, and you say yes when you mean yes. You know that things are different than when you see the world as opportunities, not challenges. You know that things are different when you've traded late nights for early mornings. You know that things are different when you're going to the gym, not the party. You said no to the party and yes to the gym. You know that things are different when you're more worried about God's love than you are about the world's love. You know that things are different when you trade the easy, quick, like, oh yeah, great, I'm just going to eat this thing for fun versus I'm going to eat for fuel. You really know things are different when you start to get off on discipline, right? That, wow, I did what I said I was going to do, and I did it when it was hard, not just when it was easy, and I did it over and over and over again. Like that's, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm proud of me over the feeling of whatever it is in the short term. That trade for like long-term goals versus the immediate, like, this is easy, let's go. You know that things are different when you take personal responsibility and you stop blaming other people. There is nobody. It's extreme ownership. You know that things are different when you no longer have a job, but instead it's just part of your lifestyle, right? We talk about balance. Y'all, like, yeah, there is 100% a thing called balance. I 100% believe it. It looks different for everybody. I think everybody wants it to be 25, 25, 25, 25, but that's not how it works. Everybody's got a different scale that they're measuring it by. But if you're missing one of the four legs, you're in for a rough ride. Okay. So this is life. This isn't a job. You know that things have changed when things no longer happen to you, but you see them as happening for you. For every door that closes, another one opens. You just got to find it. You got to see what it is that you're looking for. You know that things are different when you start looking at things instead of reacting to what's coming at you. You just respond. There's no more trigger. There's no reason to get upset. You know that things have changed when you're not sitting around moping and ruminating and stuff. Instead, you're saying, "Hey, I'm going to find it. I'm going to rewrite history. I'm going to dictate where I'm going." Y'all, it's time. Okay. Listen, it's time for you to stand up. It's time for you to know who you are. I'm a sales warrior. I'm the man or woman for the job. This is my time. It's my time to dream big. It's my time to remember who I'm at. It's my time to learn the skills that I needed to learn. It's my time to put in the training, put in the practice until my hands bleed, like do what I need to do over and over and over and over again. It's my time to remember that I am here to change lives, that my value is higher than most. I'm not afraid to stand for what my value is. I'm going to serve more customers. It doesn't matter whether or not the interest rates are up or down. Doesn't matter whether or not a Republican or Democrat gets elected to president. Doesn't matter about inflation. Doesn't matter about any of these other things. The only thing that matters is that I've got to have more conversations. I'm going to do what I need to do to check the boxes associated with my business. Dream, plan, do. And that is what Thrive in 25 is going to be all about on November 20th. So make sure you got that on your calendar. But y'all, this is your legacy. You want to change everything? Change everything. You want to change your life, your kids' life, your family's life, your grandkids' lives. You want to change the lives of the people in your community, your favorite charity, all the other things. It's you. It's all up to you. You just got to do it. You just got to do it. All right. I love you guys. Have a great day. Hey, for those of you who have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, will you please go do that? Go to YouTube. It's the Distinctive Agent Show. Just hit the subscription button. If you're not following me on Instagram or something like that, would love to see you there too. But have an amazing day. Let me know if I can do anything for you.